Myles Gaffney has been nominated twice for Grammy Awards. He's won an Irish Folk Album of the Year award, and he's currently working on releasing his new album, which will be called Soldier On. Myles is deep and thoughtful and compassionate, and I think that when you hear his music for the first time, you're going to feel an effect, just like I did first time that I heard him.
The moment they slammed the door upon my admission, my dignity and identity, they stole my only possessions. In their eyes burned Satan's flame. You're the shame, you've yourself to blame, and Mother Superior deemed for refrain as they christened me my fictitious name. Welcome to your hell on earth, for the fallen mothers of the church. We are nothing, you're only dirt, and we'll sell your baby when you give birth. So I beg Jesus and Mary, would you let me keep my baby? Can I have him back if I keep going to Mass? Isn't this what you told me as I scrubbed down on my hands and knees, and you stripped my flesh with your rosary beads? With a blind eye of the powers to be, what a price to pay for a pregnancy. Infants screaming in distress, snatched straight from their mother's breast, the masquerading brides of Christ. On their newborn wrists they slapped the price. Some little angels weren't saved, their mothers were kept as slaves, and nobody knows their names. They're buried in shallow graves. Suffer in silence, not even a whisper. Never forget your demonic sisters. Always remember you're the sinner as you cut the grass with your paper scissors. So I beg Jesus and Mary, would you let me keep my baby? Can I have him back if I keep going to Mass? Isn't this what you told me as I scrubbed down on my hands and knees, and you stripped my flesh with your rosary beads? With a blind eye of the powers to be, what a price to pay for a pregnancy. Still the stench of evil seeps from the walls. Babies' cries, they haunt halls. They haunt their halls. year was 94. God came knocking on our front door, and on May the 7th, He took my mom to heaven. No more suffering and no more pain. Pretty can be ugly sometimes, and sometimes I wonder what goes on in the mind of God. By night and by day I watched her fade away. She said, "Come hold my hand, son, I must go away. Your daddy's there to mind you. I will always be by your side." Now all I've left are all these memories of bright blue eyes and the locks of blonde hair, and oh, how I wish she was here today. Because you can't put your arms around a memory. You can't put your arms around a memory. You can't put your arms around a memory. By night and by day I saw her fade away. She said, "Now don't you cry, 'cause I must say goodbye. I'm going to the sky where the angels fly. I'll always be by your side." I see you in my dreams, Mama, and you hold my hand once more, and you touch my broken heart. From missing you, it's sore. The next time we meet, we'll be at the Golden Gates, and you laugh at my tattoo of you, and I'll hold your hand once more, never let it go again. By night and by day I saw her fade away. She said, "Come hold my hand, son, I've been long to stay. Your daddy's there to mind you. I will always be by your side." She said, "Come hold my hand, son, I must go away. Come hold my hand, son, I've been long to stay. Come hold my hand, son, come hold my hand, son, I'll always be by your side." An October's day in the lashing rain, on the Dublin to Cork motorway. In the back of my car sat a mom and dad. In their arms was their son who had just passed away, and the feeling was sad. I was thinking hard, I just wanted to get them home and take a little time out and be on my own. When I reached my place, I sat in the chair. I gave the fireplace a long hard stare, and I closed my eyes and my mind went astray when the gates of heaven did appear. When a big long figure with a hair and a beard, he said, "Go in, you're welcome here. There's a lot of folk will be happy to see you in there. Yes, to see you in there." So I walked in, I saw me mother, and I gave her the biggest hug. And me grandparents, me sister and Kira, they came running up. There was people coming from everywhere. Some sang Northside till I die. And through the crowd of people, this young fella caught my eye. Yes, this young fella caught my eye. He said, "Myles, the last time I saw you, I was only a month." I said, "Is that you, sonny boy? You're all grown up." And he gave me a hug, and he said with a smile, "In heaven you can even pull a crown, when I need you to carry a message for when you go back down, for when you go back down. Yes, when you go back down. Will you tell me, Dad, the dream he had of playing ball in the field with Mark, it's real? You know Mark minds me, he plays ball with me. We kept room for me, Dad, on our team. I'm the robin at the grave when he comes every day to turn the lights on to keep me safe. But I'm a piece up here, I wear my Liverpool gear, and I never walk alone. I sing you never walk alone. Now God, he sits me on his knee, and he explains to me, to have such parents, you know, I was blessed. I'm the reason they were put to the test. So go back down and tell me, Mom and Dad, me favorite picture is the one of all our hands, and I'll be here, oh yes I will, when they come up the stairs. Oh, when they come up the stairs. And will you tell me, Mom, I hold her love and care. I look like me dad, but I've a foxy hair, and I get to hold her finger just like the incubator. I was very happy when she came to change me nappy. She gave me the gift of life and birth, but I was only alone down there on earth. I'll be waiting here, oh yes I will, for when she comes up. Oh, when she comes up. And tell them I'm gonna guide them from up above, and they'll get through with their unconditional love. Together they'll dig deep, and they will find the nerve and live the life that they deserve. Yes, that they deserve. I said, Sonny, why? That's no problem. You gave me one last hug, When I was walking away, he gave me thumbs up. He gave me thumbs up. He gave me thumbs up.
Right, folks, so I've been waiting since I think the 6th of March 2020 for this moment. I've described Myles Gaffney in the past as the greatest living Irish songwriter. And after what I've just heard there, it's just confirmed all that for me. Myles, thanks so much for coming up today.
Thanks, Brendan, for having me up. Just before we begin, you've put in Trojan effort yourself, promoting Irish music, Irish folk, and the songwriters of Ireland and our songs. Since I first contacted you when we done the Tomás McCurtain song, I just want to say thank you, and I'm speaking, I suppose, on behalf of a lot of Irish songwriters and performers. Thank you for all the hard work you've put in promoting everybody and the gigs you run, and for having me up here today in Ballina. It's greatly appreciated, and thank you very much for coming.
You're Mahagus. That does mean a lot, to be honest with you. So thanks very much. Myles, your story is well documented, right? And your songs are all experiential stuff, the stuff that you've felt, the stuff that you've lived through, a lot of the joy, an awful lot of the pain. I want to talk first about Come Hold My Hand, Son, because it was the first song that I heard from you. And to be honest with you, it put a tear into my eye the first night. I remember contacting you afterwards going, oh my God, you know. Is it difficult to sing that song, Myles, is I suppose my question at this stage, or how does it make you feel when you're behind that microphone?
Well, at the beginning it used to affect me. In the early days, when I'd see videos of myself performing that song, I could hear the voice kind of, you know, changing in certain parts of the song, or if my father was there, or if I could see them in the audience, you know. But over time, I kind of changed my outlook on the song because I just want to make my mother proud. And so when I perform it now, I don't get upset at all because I've nearly dealt with all. I was greatly affected by my mother's death. Yes. It still affects me today. But I've come to the stage where I've accepted this is my life. So when I perform a song, I do it to make her proud, and I think of her to make her happy.
Yeah, and you're a very, I know from our own private conversations, you're a very spiritual person. You're definitely a believer in meeting again. And I think that the way you express the meeting between yourself and your mother at the gates, it's just so vivid. I think that song gives people hope when they hear it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I try to get my message across in the songs. Yeah. And if you hear it and you're a doubter or you're a non-believer, it might make you think twice. And, you know, some people might not believe in what I believe in, but I believe it's why I get up every day. I've said this in numerous interviews that, you know, I long to see my mother again. I believe it'll happen. And it keeps me going, it keeps me sane. Yeah. To have that belief, because we have to have some sort of belief to fulfill your life until your time comes. I mean, if I didn't have that belief, sure, your head would be fried. Yeah. Thinking of the what ifs. So I don't think of the what ifs or what could have been or the past.
Why? Yeah.
You know, yeah. I'm here now, and I'll do my best while I'm here for my family now. And please God, I'll get a good run at it. And when my time is up, please God, she'll be there. Yeah, well, you're doing your best to be your best, and it's coming through in your music loud and clear. I also know about the admiration that you have for your father. Like, obviously, that was very difficult for him. How did you manage to survive city life and, you know, come out as you were? I take it that coming from Cork City with a single parent must have been worrying for your dad and difficult for yourself, you know, on the streets. Well, yeah, well, we come from the north side, always gets kind of a bad rap.
Yeah.
Fortunate enough for us that we came from Redemption Road. I wouldn't be calling it a posh area or anything, but it wasn't in the estates.
Yeah.
You know, it had a good name, that area. It still has. It's just by the Neptune Stadium in the north side there. My father would have had good help when we were younger from my mother's sisters and her brother. My grandparents played a pivotal role in my life.
Yeah.
My grandmother Sheila Gaffney and my other grandmother Kitty O'Neill, and both my grandfathers, Myles Gaffney Senior and Eddie O'Neill, like they're neighbours. So like my grandmother's at the start of Redemption Road, and my grandmother's straight across the road on St Mary's Road. All separates the houses is a set of traffic lights. So it was kind of easy enough, you know, to be loved and welcomed because it wasn't too far away. So I had always somebody for welcoming and to hug me and you know, might look after me. My father will always say that like he was blessed with my mother's sister's help. They got him through some tough times, and some of his brother-in-laws helped him, you know. Growing up, I suppose firstly anyway, I was always known anyway, kind of that's the young fella there that his mother died young. It's kind of when I started going into the public and meeting people, a lot of places people would come up and talk about my mother. So I knew that I was well known anyway as a child in the north side, because at the time when she died it was unheard of, kind of, you know, for somebody 33 years of age to die so young, and it was sad for us, you know, and people won't forget, and people still tell me, I remember where I was when I heard your mother was after dying. I met a woman the other day in the shop in Grana, a cotton shop, and she said to me, "Are you Kay O'Neill's son?" And I said, "I am." And she said, "I was living in America and my sister rang me to tell me that your mother was after dying," and it was horrific.
It affected everybody, the community. Like,
yeah, and still to this day it's very, very vivid in people's minds.
Well, that tells me that you've come from a close-knit community, so, because obviously the impact is still there. Yeah,
great place, and like, you know, as again, I would have had great interest in Irish history, and I would have been a frequent user of the Sinn Féin offices in Cork from when I was a young lad, and to this day I still have a close tie to Sinn Féin. But I would have kind of been looked out for as well by senior members of the Republican movement in Cork, and they made sure that nobody was going to drag me down. And looking back now, I was only a child, but they could see this guy is vulnerable, need to keep a look out for him. So like, I would be seen years later, maybe 15, 16, 17, 18, in the company of known Republicans.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, well, we better stay away from that fella, because these guys aren't going to tolerate us trifling with him. And I used to sell the Unpublic and stuff like that for them in the pubs, and organise leaflets and things like that. So I was well looked out for from all aspects of the community, from the school, from my family, friends of the family.
You're a Northmon boy.
Yeah, I went to the Northmon, the famous Northmon, yeah.
Yeah, we'd like Ballina has a history of great basketball teams. Liam McHale and Anthony de Marsh. So one of the big highlights, I suppose, or many of the highlights of my growing up would have been around that basketball team going down to Neptune Stadium and maybe plucking the wings of Burgerland or Dawn Milk, you know, and they used to come up here to Clalla. Terry Strickland, yeah. Oh, there was some great names. Sullivan, I remember.
Oh, Tom Sullivan?
Yeah.
You know what Neptune is?
I do,
You know the crossroads?
Yeah,
well, you know the bungalow next to the school on the hill?
Well, I know the school is, yeah. So
that's my grandmother's.
Right.
And if you come up to the crossroads and go left, there's the lane, and you just go over the lane, and my another grandmother's, the fourth gate up. She is.
I know the countryside now, so that's I can picture it. Your song for the fallen mothers, Myles. Now we're still talking about difficult subject matter, and I'm not trying to have a down interview. We'll lift the tone a bit now in a couple of minutes, but. That song, the effect that song had on me the first time I heard it, I spoke to your nephew earlier, and I was remarking about some of the lyrics in that song. You strip my flesh with your rosary beads. I thought that this song was written based on what you'd heard in the media and what you'd known about with the mother and baby scandal, but it turns out it was a lot closer than that. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, Pat Buckley, he's a TD in Cork, but I used to work with Pat in the building line, so I'm a carpenter by trade, and we both worked for Flynn Construction. So Pat took on an election, a local election, as a councillor, and then he progressed to run for Dáil. Pat was elected. Pat's a good man, a very good man, does a lot for his community and his people. I've great admiration and time for Pat Buckley, but Pat asked me to come to sing some songs for his friends and his family as kind of a little a shindig for being elected to
Celebration.
So I went down, I sang a couple of songs, and when I was finished I was just kind of wiping down my guitar, and I was approached and a lady, and she said to me, "Myles, can I speak to you a minute? I wonder, can you help me? I need you to write me a song." I just felt that we were in an appropriate place, and I felt that if she was going to express such deep knowledge and stories with me, that it should be done in a dignified manner, really. So I took her phone number and I rang her a few weeks later, and I went down to her home in Middleton, which is in East Cork, County Cork, and stayed in the house with her for about 5 hours. So basically, she had a big tray of cakes, pot of tea, and I had to buy her on a few pieces of paper, and just told her speak.
Yeah.
And as she was speaking, I might query her on a few issues or a topic, and I was taking bullet points and words that she said. I extracted some of the words. Upon my admission, that's one word she used, Mother Superior and the Masquerading Brides of Christ. They are the ones that stick out in my mind that I can remember from the night, which I put into the song. It was I wouldn't say it was a great experience. I've met a lot of people writing songs, but this one was one to remember. The stories were horrific. Some of the content was so bad that you couldn't put it in a song, because it would just wasn't appropriate. It's too much for a listener. So I wrote that song for Joan McDermott is her name. She'd have no problem with me speaking here about it, and when I put it out there, it was picked up through the internet, the way things are today. And it was nominated for a Grammy Award at the 60th Grammy. So I made the 60th Grammy ballot. 2017 was it? 2017. It was nominated by Rian Music Record Company in San Francisco, California. San Francisco, I think. Anyway, if I'm wrong, I apologise. But so I ended up in the same category as Bruno Mars.
Well, you could buy and sell Bruno and probably all of the rest of them as well, Myles. I did big you up at the beginning, but as far as I'm concerned, and I do try to be very honest about and objective about my review of music. I think that's the best Irish song that's ever been written, Myles.
Thanks very much, Brendan.
There's just no other way for me to describe that song. It gives me the shivers. It makes me shake when I hear it. When I hear you sing it live, even that amplifies it in my head as well. And I think that the way that you've constructed the song, like it's deliberate, it's a piece of engineering, the way you've built it. The colour, the texture of the song, it's rough and it's raw, There's nothing, you've not tried to smooth over any edges. No. And I just say congratulations. I hope that I can someday write something as powerful, hopefully not about something so awful, but yeah, just, Jesus, I love it. Is this your first time in Mayo, Myles?
My first time in Mayo, yeah. As I say, as we were speaking a while ago, a lot of my relatives, my family, there's 3 Myles Gaffneys. My grandfather is Myles Gaffney Senior from Giva in County Sligo. Then I have an uncle, Myles Gaffney, and then so they used to call me Myles Minor, Small Myles.
It's better than Morris Minor, isn't it?
It's that they call me Small Myles, that's why I never grew. But I have family in Balladreen, Ardrahan, and passed them on the way up. There's a couple of Gaffneys in Tuam. My cousin is Rory Gaffney, they're the footballer.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah,
First
I
time
was
in
never in Mayo. I might have passed. Yeah, I had to pass through it, didn't I, to get the give it?
Well, to Sligo you probably did, but you might not have stopped.
Yeah, my grandfather, his wish was to be buried back in Sligo. Great man, Myles Gaffney, worked for McAlpines, worked for the Fusiliers for 55 years. Yeah, we still have the grandfather clock that he was given by Sir Robert McAlpine. I have 3 of his ties actually.
Right.
His McAlpine tie, you know, with the logos, because I kept them after he passed away, because you'll never see them again.
Do you sing the song in your gigs?
I do sometimes.
Yeah, I do too. I love
sometimes. McAlpine Fusiliers, but yeah, 55 years. He worked with them. He retired, and he came out of retirement when he was 78 to run a job for McAlpine in Kilkenny.
Yeah.
And after that, I think McAlpine went folded, and I think they were bought up by. He actually worked for Wimpy as well.
Right.
And he worked for O'Rourke before he went to McAlpine. It's been 55 years of his life, plus when he came back out to work for them. So I'm from the Gaffney clan from Giva and County Sligo.
You're from Connacht. You're a Connacht rebel. Well, I saw a post of you, Myles, on Facebook about 6 weeks ago, where you were at the doctor's in a gown, and you still had the hat on. So I got you something from County Mayo.
Thanks,
hopefully you can wear that at one of your gigs.
Thanks, I will wear it, yeah.
Now, some of the Cork GA boys mightn't be too impressed with you wearing a Mayo hat, but I think you're big enough and strong enough to stand up to that.
Yeah, I'll wear it, don't worry, we'll wear it.
Good stuff. So, like a lot of your, you're welcome. A lot of your songs are they're fun. You know, you've got a real sense of humour as well. It's not all this darkness. I'm thinking about songs like Big Joe Joyce, talking about him running around with a lorry battery on his back. I'm thinking about Tick Tock, the broken clock, the Shandon clock. How will I put it? Which ones go down better in your live gigs? Are you getting the same reaction for everything, or?
Yeah, well, I have so many notes. You know, a fella said to me one time, he says, he says, when you're a songwriter, he says, when you can actually call yourself a songwriter, he said, is when you can go in and sit down for 2 hours or 2.5 hours with an audience of people, and you actually have trouble
picking the song.
Trying to pick the song.
Yeah.
And I hit that peak about 2 years ago, where I was sitting down at home saying, you know, they want to hear this. Geez, if he buys a ticket, he might want to hear that.
Yeah.
At the beginning, it was all fun. Tick Tock, the broken clock, that was written because Shandon Bell's the four-faced liar, none of the clocks tell the same time. It was broken.
The four-faced liar, is that what you say?
But I mean, this is a tourist attraction in our city, in the north side. And a lot of the businesses in the north side, the Shandon Street, the pubs in the area, the coffee shops, they all benefit from tourism, coming to see Shandon. And here was our attraction.
Your centrepiece,
broken for months and months.
Yeah.
So I played a role, myself and a radio presenter, Neil Prendeville. We got together and we launched a campaign to get the money to fix it.
He's mentioned in the song, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah.
He's been very good to me on my road. But so we decided to get going. We started on a Friday. It was 90,000 to fix the clocks, or was it 50,000? 50,000 to fix the clocks. The Cork City Council refused, so we said we take them on. And by about 5 o'clock on the Friday, we had about 40 grand in a day, and we were definitely on the way to breaking it. So what happened was there was a concert organised, and then didn't the council break and said, "Oh, we found the money." They just automatically found the money they said they didn't have, and we put on a concert, and the concert was where you'd enter a song.
Yeah.
And I just wrote that for a bit of a laugh. Kids love it. I was up in the gym one day and a fella said to me, if I caught a hold to you last week, he said, I'd have choked you. And I said, why? He said, I drove all the way down to Skull with a carload of children, and all the way back, he said, with that song on repeat.
They wanted, nothing else.
Yeah, and I have videos of all the kids singing it, your parents sending me videos.
I actually had a funny one night. I was playing a gig up in Carrick and Shannon, and I sang a song, and I went up to the bar afterwards, having a pint. And this fella came up to me and says, hey, Pat, he says, they weren't the right words for that song, I said, what are you on about? I wrote that song. And he went,
I said the same.
Just being a bollocks, if you know what I mean.
Fella said to me one time, he said, hey. I said, what's wrong with you? Roy Keane wasn't sold for 50,000 at all. So Rockmore got a cut of it, and Cove got a cut of it. And you're looking saying, are you actually for real?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
And then he said, another fella said to me one night, that's not how you sing that song. I said, I'll sing it whatever way I want, it's mine.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I do know.
I changed the key.
Yeah.
It was recorded in A minor. Yeah. Remember now, like, when I recorded Roy Keane's Never in the recording studio in my life.
Yeah.
So, like, singing and all that. I saw a video of me singing it live the other day, and a guy that's very good to me and looks after me with tech, Paul Davidson, and I just want to give Paul a shout out. He's under the weather at the moment, so get well, Paul.
Hi, Paul.
What was I getting at again before I went off?
Just
Paul?
Around singing in a different key to the way you write the song.
And I must get on to Paul to remove that video because it popped up out of nowhere. Yeah. It's cringe-worthy. Because I'm trying to put on the Dubliners.
Yeah. It can be hard to watch yourself back, actually, can't it?
Yeah,
you know.
and you were speaking about Sally earlier, the backing singer on the album. She brought it to my light. She said, Myles, she said, you have an absolutely beautiful voice. Why are you destroying your vocal cords by singing with this Dubliners?
Pretending to be something.
You know, people have this vision of Irish ballad singers with the pirate.
Yeah.
And so I went to a few vocal lessons in her home, and she just said, Myles, there's no need to be like veins bursting out of your neck. Turn up the microphone, turn up the monitor, don't sing over the crowd. Like,
use the equipment.
Destroying your body, you're destroying your vocals. And so
well, that was a good bit of advice, and it served you very well. You know the song that you played for us, Where Were You When You Were 21?
Yeah.
Like the storyline is pretty obvious, okay? It is self-explanatory. I just wonder around some of your writing about your republicanism. You're obviously very passionate about it. Between that song, I'm trying to remember the name of the Bobby Sands song.
No Criminal in Me.
No Criminal in Me, yeah. And you know, you've got others as well. Do you think that, how will I put this? Do you think that your time spent with the Sinn Féin, the Republican lads, as a young fella, moulded any of your output, your musical output, the way you perform as opposed to the words of the songs? Obviously that's in there.
Well, I think you're born with that.
Yeah, okay.
You don't wake up in the morning and decide,
I'm a singer.
I'm going to be a Sinn Féin man.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah, like you have to be, has to be within your, I love my people. Even I walk down the North Mall every morning at work in Cork, and there's a tricolour blowing up in Blarney Street in the school. I tell you, I get emotional when I see the flag. Because look at the way things are gone. You had the Limerick hurlers apologising for singing Sean South and Gary Owen.
Yeah.
You had the Tyrone boys, the footballers, apologising for singing a rebel song. For what? It's true. It happened. These are our people.
Mm-hmm.
These people made ultimate sacrifices in their life, and you have to give them respect. People often say, you're true Irish man, because I am Irish. And like, I feel our culture is under threat.
Yeah,
and I was saying it to Colin on the way up in the car, like the children will go around, hey man, hey dude.
Yeah.
That's all that internet stuff.
Yeah.
Like, thank God my own children don't talk like that.
We're getting Americanized.
My son is the youngest fella. There's a young fella at the door. I love hearing speaking like that. That's who we are. So the performances, when I sing those songs, like I said this before as well, like that, I visualise the event in my mind. I knew that song, Where We Knew 21, it's written about a man called Dan Harrington, okay? And one night I was called aside by a Republican, and he just said, Myles, he said, I believe you're the man to see. I knew of him, but I never met him. And he said, this man in particular, and he said, I believe you're the man to see to write the songs. We need to keep the songs alive. We need to keep the stories alive. He said, there's fellas been buried all over Ireland every day who made huge sacrifices in their life, and we need to capture it in song. Like the Barons, he said long ago, with the broadsheets, and they're going from village to village singing the news and carrying the stories.
Gotcha. Keeping the memory alive as well.
Yeah, and he was very passionate about it. This man is a real passionate man, and he's a good person. And I said to him, okay, he said, you know Dan Harrington, don't you? And I said, I do, yeah. And he said, well, I need you, he said, to come and meet me. And he said, you can never tell, he said, who gave you this information. And I said, that goes without saying. And I met him, and he gave me Dan's real story. I knew Dan as an individual. I didn't know
what he'd
his
done
history
already,
and his past. And he told me that how the title of the song was, that they were at a funeral one time, a Republican funeral, and people try to glamorise republicanism. Republicanism isn't far from glamorous.
No, it's rough. Yeah.
Republicanism comes with an awful burden in your life, to be a Republican even, and there was a guy at the funeral, and he was talking pure nut or rubbish, the North this and the North that, and I'll do this and I'll do that, and I done this and I done that, and of course Dan was listening to the whole conversation, and he was a very quiet man, and he just turned around and he said to him, "Shut your mouth," he said, "where were you when you were 21?
And there was a song.
And when that individual told me that, I just said to him in the room, I said, "We have it.
Yeah,
that's the title
that's your
of the
tag.
song."
Yeah, it's a great piece of writing, and it does sit well with the classic songs of that genre. Some of them that you've mentioned, and many others that you haven't. But I think we both come from that same angle on.
And I just need to verify something there about what you said, but no criminal in me.
Oh yeah.
I was given that song, and I had believed the song originated. The title of the song and some of the lines originated in a certain place, a certain person. But I only found out in the last few weeks there's a band in Limerick called Clover, and they asked me could they cover it. I told them belt away. But what happened was, like you said a while ago, a chap popped up and said, "Hold up a minute, that's belonged to me."
Yes.
Now I had changed the song, like kind of really what myself and you done with the Tomás
rearrangement. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Just done it to suit myself, and. No, there was no issue. I called this man up. I explained how I got the song, where I got the song, and there was absolutely no problem. He wants me to continue, so I just have to acknowledge that it was Johnny Lane from Charleville was the creator and who started that song. He wrote his own version of it.
Yeah.
His version was given to me, and I tweaked it a bit here and there. But Johnny has no problem with that, so I just had to say that.
Play to Johnny as well, yeah.
Because there was a bit of a mix-up, and Johnny wants to meet up with me actually and write a couple of tunes. So
absolutely.
Thanks, Johnny.
And it's always good to collaborate. I think what the Tomás McCurtain song that I wrote, you found it coming up to the celebrations, I suppose, the commemoration of the 100th anniversary of the death of the Mayor of Cork. I put that song together through my video blog on Facebook. He picked it up, and we'd actually talked about going to the commemoration the end of March. That was the 6th of March last year, and everything fell apart after that, obviously, in terms of pandemics and all that. I hope we can still do that sometime,
Well, I spoke to the organisers. I mean, look, it's been performed for the President of Ireland. I was devastated myself. I spoke to the organisers recently, and she's assured me 100% that it is going to be marked.
When possible.
When possible, because it's very important to not for Ireland but for Cork. I mean, when you come to Cork, and you can come down to me, I'll show you his house. Still in Blackpool, across from the church.
I've got that jersey, the McSweeney, McCurtain.
I had it on me yesterday.
You the black one, I got the white one. We might do a gig together with us wearing the both of them. Savage history in Cork, and I suppose all coming to these centenaries now, the burning of Cork and all that as well. Myles, the final song that you've performed for us today was a Christmas present for your nephew.
Yeah.
And niece-in-law. I'm not going to ask any questions about the song. I'd just like you to explain it if you can.
So he's actually here today. He travelled me as a companion to keep me company, so I'm very grateful for his company today. I like having a bit of company on the road with me, So I always throw an old fella into a car with me. So if I was playing different county, I'd always say, "Do you want to come?" Or some fella might like it and leave a comment. I say, "Sure, come up, I collect you, or call up to my house, you can come." I wrote it for Colin and his girlfriend Karen, because Karen gave birth to a
Okay, Myles.
To a little boy named Sonny, and so they asked me to go to Crumlin and collect him. So I went up to collect him. He had a short life. And I just wanted to give them something to cheer them up at Christmas. And when I got back to Cork that day, the whole episode was very fresh in my mind. I think I never took the Dublin road so quick in all my life. When I got home, I just wanted to be on my own. It was a tough experience.
Did you find a pen and paper drawing, Jan?
Yeah, I thought about it on the way down. I thought about it on the way down in the car.
Yeah.
Could I do this? And I got home and I just wanted to be on my own. So my wife, which is really Colin's aunt, I'm married to Colin's aunt, but we'd still call him our nephew. And so they wanted to go and see Colin because they hadn't seen him in a while because he was up in Crumlin. And I just threw myself on the chair. Just reflecting on the day, really. I mean, I knew when I made the decision to go there that that was going to stay with me forever, Brendan, you know.
Yeah.
I had been in that situation once before with my own sister, Grace. So I was kind of prepared a bit for it. But I just sat in the chair and just went down to the off licence. No problem admitting it, bought 2 or 3 bottles of wine and just started drinking and got the pen and paper and just wrote that song. It was in the moment, it's the truth. It's what I was there, and then I just incorporated my my belief.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask you.
I saw this picture, Brendan.
Yeah.
It's called First Day in Heaven. Did you ever see that picture?
No, I'm not aware of it.
It's painted.
Yeah.
Everything is happy and perfect, and everyone's happy and hugging and kissing, and all the children are playing, and there's no badness there. Everybody's free. There's no problems. And I said to myself when I saw that picture before, I'll use that picture someday for a song, and that's I used it for that song when I met Sonny Curran, and that was the outcome of it. It's what I experienced, it's what I felt, and
you know what you've done there, Myles? You've actually immortalised a child in a way that, again, it throws hope on that whole subject, that difficult and desperate subject of a parent having to bury a child. I think that as you were performing it here, I could see a difficulty in your, maybe a stress or a tension on your body as you were delivering it, because you wanted to do it as best as you could. It looks and sounds like one of those songs that, you want it to be perfect. And I just think that the way it is written, Myles, it is perfect,
Thanks, Brendan. As I said, I think the best things to do with songs like that is just tell the truth. Don't make up any fiction. It doesn't work. I can't write fictional material anywhere.
But why would you bother? You've got such an array of material there, based, like you say, on the truth. You're a journalist when you're writing.
And you all come hold my hand so earlier about do I get upset? No, but towards the end of that, no, it was hitting me. Probably hear the voice tweaking and then singing it, because again, I haven't dealt with the whole surroundings of what happened in the events of Sonny's time on earth. I haven't sang it too much myself to
no, I understand.
To build myself, say, we're strong enough.
It's not processed.
Still very raw. I mean, he hasn't been gone for less than 12 months, so and his dad is here today again. So,
well, what happened outside when we went out for a chat on the balcony here?
Yeah.
Yourself and your nephew standing there, and Robin literally jumped within 2 feet of you on the barrier. And I could see the connection between the two of you guys.
He followed us up from Cork.
Did you see that? He followed us up?
He followed us up.
Yeah, you'd like to think so. Maybe he'll follow you back down again. Myles, I'm sorry now if that was difficult.
No, I'm just glad I was able to do it, because that's a kind of a chapter close to me, that I know the next time when I speak about this, that
Yep.
I'll be in a better position mentally. Wasn't expected today. Well, you know, Colin asked me to sing the song. I sang it. I hadn't sang it since Christmas Day, since I gave it him as a gift. I'm
glad you did that, Colin, by the way.
It just caught me. I was just caught. I wasn't prepared, you know.
Right, I suppose just coming to the end of the interview now, Myles, obviously we'd talked before, Jesus, you know, come on down to Cork, Brendan, and Cypress Avenue, and, you know, commemorations and see the city and all that. I can't wait to get to Cork. I can't wait to see your sheds, if you like. You know, we're going to spend a bit of time around mine now this evening. I'm just wondering, we've asked everybody this question. If there was one song out of all the songs that have been written that you wish you could have been the guy to write, what would it be? That's a tough question, I understand.
Probably right now.
Yeah.
With what's going on in Palestine and that, and a song that I love to sing, No Time for Love. Moving Hearts, Christy Moore.
Christy.
I think it was Wally Page actually wrote it, wasn't it?
I don't know, to be honest.
I think it was Wally Page.
Yeah, I know the song, all right.
I just love performance, you know. There's no time for love if they come in the morning, because they can come any time, you know.
Yeah.
I'm friends with Paddy Joe Hill from the Birmingham Six. Wrote a song for Paddy. It's on my new album, which is going to be released when all this is over. But Paddy is a victim of they can come any time.
Yep.
There's no time for love, because just like that, your whole life is changed. Your children are damaged forever.
Everyone.
Your family, your wife is torn apart, your family's torn apart, everything is just destroyed. And right now in this present time, no time for love. I love singing it, I love performing it, and the H Block song as well. I love it. I think it's a brilliant song.
Yeah.
So they're my two that I would always try and
The
fling
go-to
into an
songs.
hour.
Fair play, anyway.
Set list, you know.
Well, look, we've put hard work on you this evening in Ballina. We appreciate so much, Myles. You've taken, like, the journey itself, just coming from Cork up to North Mayo. It's not as if you stopped in Ballandine, you still have another hour to go. We do hope that we'll have you back here in this theatre, this wonderful room, with 240 people shouting their heads off and cheering along as you do your thing. I think it's likely that you're going to fill many halls all over the country with the music that you're producing. So, on behalf of everybody at Music Makers, just Gurmai the car.
Got a meal walk.
Cheers.
Thank you.